Hello all, I'm Sai and you're watching The Book Dragon. In today's video, I'm bringing to you my review and discussion of the Red Scrolls of Magic by Cassandra Clare and Wesley Chu. This whole video will not be spoiler free. I'll be giving a spoiler free review for the first 4 to 5 minutes, after which I'll be getting into spoilers and I will tell you guys when I get into spoilers. So without any further ado, let's get into the review right away. Starting with the plot, the Red Scrolls of Magic is the first book in the Eldest series, in which each and every book takes place during different time zones of the entire Shadowhunter Chronicles. Now this one, which is the first book, happens after the end of City of Glass and like 100 to 200 pages into the story of City of Fallen Angels, but I can easily say that you can read this after City of Glass, then move into City of Fallen Angels. But the best way, if you ask me, to read this is to finish the Mortal Instruments, then come to this one, because there's a small thing which is revealed in this one which might be a potential spoiler for City of Heavenly Fire, because it is not revealed until like the last 150 or 200 pages of that book. So my advice is to finish the Mortal Instruments and then get into this one. The actual plot of the book is that Magnus Bean and Malec Lightwood, after the end of City of Glass, go on for a vacation, and when they are going on the vacation, Magnus is met by one of his old friends, and that friend has brought him a very bad news. And the bad news is that there has been this cult which was found by Magnus more than a century ago, and that cult is functional right now with a different leader, and they are committing some murders of the downworlders as well as some mundanes. Now amidst the vacation that they have planned, Magnus and Alec have to find a way in order to find this cult, put an end to them, and take the blame away from Magnus's name. They travel across Europe, and the entire plot of the book happens in different locations of Europe, starting from Paris and ending in Rome. I should say, for a co-written book, the plot was very strong for this one. Moving on to the characters, apart from the two main characters, we also have some side characters who occur from the prequel as well as sequel series, that is the Mortal Instruments as well as the Infernal Devices and Last Stars. So the best way to read it would be to finish both the Mortal Instruments and its prequel series, then get into this one. But I can easily say that this might not spoil the Last Star series to a great extent for you, but it will definitely spoil the Infernal Devices as well as a little bit of the Mortal Instruments if you start with this one. So never start with this one at all, because it will just spoil the first half of the Mortal Instruments for you. The side characters who come from the other series are Raphael, who is explored a lot more in this one, and Raphael is one of my favorite characters from the Mortal Instruments itself, and he doesn't play that huge a part, but each and every time he comes into the scene, he just is fleshed out in a very proper way by Cassie in the series, and the inclusion of Raphael in this one just enhance the flavor of the book a lot more, and his care for Magnus and Magnus's care for Raphael is just showed to us during different scenes. It's not so openly shown, but the subtleties that they share and the care that they have for each other is really well portrayed by the authors in this one, if you ask me. And apart from them, we also have two other main characters from the Mortal Instruments itself, who are Helen Blackthorn and Aline Penhallow. Okay, they have important roles only in the 5th and 6th books of the Mortal Instruments series, and also they are main characters inside the Dark Artifices, which I have not read yet. I should say, two of my most favorite characters whom I did not see coming were definitely Raphael and Helen Blackthorn in this one, because I have not read a lot about Helen Blackthorn since I have not read the Dark Artifices yet, but Raphael's improvement in this one was really well done. Talking about the two main characters, we get to know a little bit more about Alec and his backstory and how he has been feeling for these 18 years of his life. And apart from them, we also get to know a lot more of Magnus's history, which we didn't even get to see in the main Chronicles or in the Mortal Instruments, because Magnus has lived for over centuries and there is a lot more to be revealed of his life. I'm sure that we are going to see some more in the future books also, but I can easily say that some of the characteristics of Magnus were really well fleshed out due to those backstories which are explored in this one. Moving on to the world building aspect, I can easily say that this is not one of those books in which we get a lot more of the Shadowhunter world being built around the series or the plot of the book. The main thing which was developed a lot more in this one, and which was given a lot more beauty compared to the other 2 or 3 series which I've read so far, the description of the downworld and the various downworlders, their histories, and how they are also so similar to the Shadowhunters, but just their blood is different and their way of living is different. The goodness as well as the bad traits of the downworlders, just like that of the Shadowhunters, is explored a lot in this one, and we get to see a lot more of how the downworlders live and what different things mean to them, unlike to the Shadowhunters or the Mundanes. All those were explained really well in this one, and we get to see all those from the point of view of a Shadowhunter, that is Alec himself, and he gets to understand a lot more about the downworlders. I just have a small doubt, because just like any of the other Shadowhunters, Alec has this sense of superiority which all of the other Shadowhunters also have, and it is definitely shown in the later books in the Mortal Instruments also, especially with Simon. And I was not just able to take that little bit of concern from this one, because he gets to learn a lot more and he does improve a lot more compared to the previous books in this one. But that seemed a bit missing in the continuation of the story, if you ask me, when it comes to Immortal Instruments. Moving on to the writing, that was the only aspect I was worried about while I started with the book, because I didn't have much expectations on this one, because I have not heard that many positive things about the Eldest Curses as a series itself, and many people said that it's not as strong as the other original series, but I do think it's as much strong as the other series also. And due to my low expectations, I think this was a book which I enjoyed a lot more than I thought I would, because each and every instant in this book was really well written. Okay, the character developments, the relationship that was developing between Magnus and Alec, and how they understood each other and how they support each other during various instances, all those things were really well laid out. Though the book is co-authored apart from Cassie Clare with Wesley Chu, I can easily sense the flavor of the Shadowhunter world maintained as such, and nothing was given away, if you ask me. Okay, nothing was given up in order to just enrich the story, and the world did not change in any aspect. The characters did not change, they did not act anything out of their box, and all those things were really well maintained. I do think that that's a huge success for the writing of the book, because when two authors write it together, if the rapport doesn't work that well, I'm sure that the book might not be this much enjoyable. So I can definitely say that the writing in this one was far better than I expected it to be. Finally, in the spoiler free section, talking about the pacing of this one, I thought that since it's a book whose plot is entirely a vacation and just this cult business that's going to be investigated by the couple during the vacation, it might be a slow paced book, because I thought that the book was majorly going to focus on the vacation and it's going to be kind of something like a travel read or something. It does feel like a travel read because we are constantly shifting locations, but trust me, the pacing of this one was really well maintained. Okay, I thought that it might drop pace in a lot of instances due to the fact that the romance is going to increase a lot in this one and it's going to develop. It does increase, but the pace does not get affected by it in any place at all. There are a lot of action sequences throughout. Okay, we do get Shadowhunters fighting demons just like in any of the other books, and I could easily say that the action sequences written in this one were even more properly laid out, because we don't have a ton of Shadowhunters, we just have 3. Okay, and all those 3 are going to be fighting together or apart, but mostly together, and it was really well executed and the pace did not suffer due to that. And obviously I rated this one 5 stars, okay, because I did not expect this to be really good, and I should say it just exceeded all my expectations, and I did enjoy the whole time reading this one. I think I finished reading the book in like 2 or 3 days, which was insanely fast. Okay, I was working and then reading, so I just flew through it. It was such a fun ride, and I'm very much excited to pick up the next book, which is the Lost Book of the White, and let's just see. I hope that I do enjoy that one also. And yeah, that's it for the spoiler free part. Now I'm going to jump into spoilers, and while I'm going to discuss this book, there will be spoilers for the entire Mortal Instruments, the Infernal Devices, the 2 books of the Last Stars that are out until now, and the Bane Chronicles and Tales from the Shadowhunter Academy. I have not read any of the Dark Artifices books, as well as Ghosts of the Shadow Market and the Lost Book of the White. So if you guys want to discuss spoilers with me, please avoid the spoilers for TDA, Ghosts of the Shadow Market, as well as the Lost Book of the White, and any other stuff than that, please do feel free to discuss, because I'm always open for discussions. So without any further ado, let's get into the spoilers right away. My most 2 favorite characters of this entire book were some people whom I did not expect to see in this one, as well as I did not expect that they might become favorites for me. The first one is obviously Raphael. Okay, Raphael is so mean and so rude every time someone talks to him, and the way he protects his clan. Okay, he is not at all interested in attending this party, but he attends it with his clan because they want to attend it, as well as the vampires have not supported the other downworlders in joining the Nephilim in order to win Valentine, but I don't understand how they are invited and how they just get in there without any sort of fear at all. Apart from Raphael, the other one whom just blew my mind was Helen Blackthorn. Okay, we just get a little bit of bits and pieces of scenes of Helen in City of Lost Souls and City of Heavenly Fire, and also in a single or 2 short stories when it comes to Tales from the Shadowhunter Academy. Okay, she is shown as a really good person. She is the start of a relationship with Aline in this one was really well shown, if you ask me. Every time her fairy powers were shown in this one, like the way in which Alec notices her walking, but they cannot see any leaves being crunched, or she doesn't move like a shadow hunter completely. She moves half like a shadow hunter and half like a fairy. All those things just added on a lot of layers to Helen's character and made me like her a lot. The next thing is that I expected to get a lot more of backstories of both Magnus as well as Alec in this one, but this seemed to be a lot more of an Alec book rather than a Magnus book to me, because most part of the story we get from the point of view of Alec and what are the things that he's experiencing since the time he came out. Okay, after the kiss in City of Glass, he has experienced a lot of things, and the way people see him is totally different. Some are good, some are not that good, and the way his family has reacted has been positive to a greater extent, except for Robert and all the things that he's reflecting on from his past, okay, from his childhood childhood to his later days, all those things were really well done by the author, if you ask me. Alec feels like a really true person to me rather than the way I saw him in the Mortal Instruments. I remember saying that while I put this book on my April TBR, I want to know Magnus' story, but I don't care about Alec that much. But now I say I care about both of them equally, okay? Even now, Magnus is a lot more for me, but I do care about Alec a lot more after reading this one, because this just fleshes him out more real to be a person, and he's even more believable compared to the other main characters, if you ask me, because we've not gotten a lot more substance about them in any of the other books. I expect to see a lot more of the actual TMI gang in the Lost Book of the White, as well as the Dark Artifices, especially Isabel, because I want to see Isabel's backstory a lot more, because everywhere we do see people associated with Magnus, but trust me, if there's no Izzy, there are not many of the Mortal Instruments characters who would have survived, including Alec, if you ask me. And how he thinks about his relationship with his siblings, both Jace as well as Isabel, as well as his mom, okay? After Alec actually decides to go on for the vacation, Maris is the one who gives him some extra money, okay? And when he tries to give it back, she's the one who tells him to go and enjoy, have some fun, okay? That's what she says to him and sends him away, and that was really beautiful. I usually like Maris as a mother character a lot more. The only thing, if you ask me, that she did wrong was telling Izzy about the thing that Robert did first and not letting her disclose that secret. That was the only bad thing, if you ask me, that Maris did. Apart from that, she's been one of the best mother characters that was written in this entire series. I like Maris compared to Jocelyn a lot more, and any of the other main mother characters as well. Especially the amount of thought that Alec gives to the way in which Izzy and Jace have supported him throughout his life, okay? Both of them know that he's not straight, and Izzy has tried to talk with him about it, but every time Alec has been frightened that someone might overhear it, and he has always shut her down. Even then, she's not ever given up on him in any instant. She's guarded his secret like hers and kept it forever with her. Apart from her, Jace has also known that Alec is not straight, and he's always kept it in mind, and he's always been that person whom Alec could love, even though he'd not love him the same way back, yet being there for him always, okay? I should say I did like Jace a lot more from the point of view of Alec. He was explained rather than just seeing him as a person in the Mortal Instruments, okay? While I read the Mortal Instruments for the first time, I did not like Jace at all, but after reading this, I should definitely say that Jace and Alec have improved a lot more in my mind than they were before. While we talk about all the supporting characters, one character who's not at all talked about enough, if you ask me, is Katrina Ross, okay? She has done a lot of great, excellent things in her past, which she has not revealed, but even when she does reveal them to Simon in Tales from the Shadowhunter Academy, she's not that much acknowledged, except by Simon, who's one of the sweetest people ever. But in this one, the care of Katrina for Magnus is explicitly shown, because she cares about Magnus a lot because he's a downworlder and Alec is a Shadowhunter, and she doesn't trust Alec that much because she doesn't know him. But when Alec finally tries to save all the downworlders from that party, Katrina just understands that he is a good person, and she just swings her hand around him and kisses him on the cheeks and says that I've decided that I like you from now on. It was really well done, okay? That's how Katrina will react, and I do think she's one of the most underrated characters that's been written in this entire series. While I'm still gushing about all the Mortal Instrument stuff, I want to end with this one and then continue with the other spoilers, which is the friendship of Simon and Jace that was building up in this one as a background thing, okay? And Alec has clearly seen it because he behaves in a particular way when he wants to become friends with someone, and he has not shown that interest in anyone else for a very long time other than Simon, and that relationship that they have is also really good, and it was really well done, if you ask me, for the entire thing. Next, talking about our actual antagonist, Shin-Yun-Jang, okay? Ever since Shin-Yun came into the scene, I was able to sense this eerie thing from her, okay? She just presents herself as humorous. She is a humorous person, but there is something off-putting about her that just was giving me bad vibes, okay? That this person is bad and they are in some way going to betray the other two, and I did see that coming, okay? The second Alec leaves Magnus, that's the time when Shin-Yun takes Magnus, and Magnus, being the kindest heart he is, he believes her too and gets trapped at last. And I can easily say that she was the weakest written character in this one because she was very predictable, okay? Whatever Shin-Yun did, it just felt so manipulative and so calculated for me the whole time, okay? I didn't even get spoiled for the book. That's the worst part. I was able to see that she is the antagonist, or the person who's going to lead to the antagonist, really easily from the beginning of the book itself. And I should say it was a bit off-putting because I did expect a lot more from the antagonist. Though the antagonist is actually Asmodeus, I should say the person who leads them up to that actual antagonist, that is Shin-Yun, was not that well written. But I should say her backstory was also really well established, okay? in order to deliver that punch, we have to see or experience the thing that she experienced while she was buried alive. And that scene when she's telling Magnus with her magic and making him also experience the feelings that she had, that she was suffocating while she was buried alive, all those things were really well done. And how she got into contact with the Crimson Hand, and how all these stuff led up to one to another, and how she became the person that she is right now, and how she's been manipulated just like any of the other people by Asmodeus was also really well shown in this one. And I do think, though she was not such a great person leading up to an antagonist, her backstory proved to be a really interesting one, and she was a fun character to read about, but very predictable. And I've like legitimately found one pattern that Cassie has used in all of her first books in the series, okay, which is the angst that she builds up and breaks it at the perfect point. Okay, I noticed this one in Clockwork Angel itself, but I was not sure because I've just read 2 of the first books in series, but after that I read 2 more right now, so I'm sure that this is a pattern that's going on, and it is not at all something which needs to be avoided. It is something which I enjoyed a lot in all the 4 first books, if you ask me. First one, in City of Bones, we have that scene between Clary and Jace in the nursery, and when something is going to happen, it breaks. Okay, that's the point. And after that, in Clockwork Angel, we can see Will and Tessa in the attic. Something happens, something is about to happen, and it breaks. And when it comes to Chain of Gold also, we have the whispering room scene between Cordelia and James. They are kissing, okay, very passionately, and everyone just comes in, they break it there also. I was really sure that, okay, something like that is going to be heightened to such a great angst level in this one also, and it's going to be broken when we expect something to happen. The same thing, okay, the exact same thing happened this one also. To be precise, it's the scene in the Orient Express in their luxury suite. That is something that's just going to happen, okay? Things have been leading up to things to happen, and that scene in which Magnus and Alec are like so hardcore kissing, there comes a Dravak demon or some other demon. I think it's a Dravak demon, okay? That's when Alec also says, "You must be kidding me," something like that. He says that, and they go and fight the demons again. This pattern that's followed in every other first book was really well done, if you ask me. And though we know that nothing's going to happen because it's the pattern and it's going to break, okay, the break is also a part of the pattern. I could see that coming, but I should say it was a really enjoyable pattern that's been constructed by Cassie so far, and I do think it will be there in Lady Midnight also. I'm not sure. I think I will probably read Lady Midnight in May or June, not sure though. But I'm like waiting to see the angst in the scene in which she's going to build to the peak and then break it at a point so that we get devastated. I'm very much excited to see that, and this was the book which just made it so legitimate for me. Lastly, I'd like to conclude with some things which happened bittersweet towards the last page of the book. Okay, last page, we get to see that Ragnar has not died yet. Okay, he is alive, and Shinyon has been using him in some way or the other in order to capture Magnus, and he's been making fun of her the whole time. That is, Ragnar has been making fun of Shinyon the whole time. And there is also this thing about the eldest curses. Okay, Asmodeus says that Magnus is his eldest curse. So I have this doubt whether the eldest curses are going to be 3 warlocks. That is, we get Magnus as the eldest curse in this one. There might be 2 other eldest curses. We have not seen any siblings for Magnus that has been talked about anywhere. Okay, he will have half siblings because Asmodeus doesn't have just one child, right? He will be having multiple other children also. They might be there in various parts of the world, all of whom will be warlocks for sure. And the other 2, okay, since there are 3 books, I'm just guessing that there might be 2 more. I have not read Lost Book of the White yet. Okay, after finishing and after I finish editing this video, I'm going to straight away start Lost Book of the White, and I'm going to try to finish it in April itself. Let's just wait and see. And I've also heard that that's far better than this one. I loved this one itself, and I'm sure that I will love that one because this has Alec on the cover, that has Magnus himself on the cover, and that image just took me off guard. Okay, so this is my guess. The eldest curses might be 3 warlocks. I might be totally wrong, okay, I might be entirely wrong. And also each and every book, if I'm not wrong, is named after one of the books from the Spiral Labyrinth. Okay, the Red Scrolls of Magic is a book of the warlocks from the Spiral Labyrinth. The Lost Book of the White, the Book of the White, is also a book of the warlocks which they use for summoning demons and something. That's the book that's used to like wake Jocelyn up from her slumber. And also the Lost Volume of the Dead, it's talked about in the last chunk. Okay, after the epilogue of Chain of Iron, we get Jem and Magnus going together and trying to find the Black Volume of the Dead. So that's the last book in the series. I'm not sure what the cover is going to be because they put both the main characters as the cover images. It might be them together battling in the 3rd cover. Who knows what's going to happen. I'm just waiting to read the other 2 books in the series and finish this off because, you know, it's Magnus. He's my darling. He's my most favorite character. Okay, He's one of my most favorite characters of all time, and I'm also waiting to see a lot more of the actual Mortal Instruments characters in the Lost Book of the Wild, because it happens after Tales from the Shadowhunter Academy, if I'm not wrong. So there will be Max along with Magnus and Alec, and I don't know how it's going to proceed, but I'm sure that it's going to be even more enjoyable because we are going to have the entire gang. Especially Simon is going to be there as a Shadowhunter, so it's going to be even better. So yeah, I just enjoyed this, and I do think you enjoyed it too. And that's it for today. If you did enjoy watching today's video, don't forget to give it a thumbs up and also share it to your friends. If you want to get more content from me, do subscribe to the channel because I publish new videos every Sunday, Tuesday, Thursday and Saturday. Thanks for watching and have a great rest of your day.